What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So let's talk about Adrien Broner. I saw an interview with Adrien, and he basically was, they had people phoning in, come calling in to ask him questions, and as usual, you get a lot of dumb questions, like obvious, like you already know the answer to it before you even ask it. A lot of repetitive questions. The caller before you just asked the same question and he answered, and you get a lot of that. So I could understand Adrian or anybody getting irritated with it because I get irritated hearing people ask stupid questions. Even like, what is your game plan going to be? Like, duh, why would he tell everybody that? You know, stuff like that. But like overall, um, one thing with Adrian Broner that I see with him is, somebody made a comment about like, his like, does he feel like he have that? What drives him? Make him feel like he got that one last, fight left in him. That last really good hurrah left in him. And he's like, man, you talking like I'm like 65 years old. He told one guy, I tell you what, you get your ass in here, see if you can go around with me and stuff like that. He was getting irritated, and I get it. But what Adrian also doesn't understand is people with all the antics, all the crazy things, him and not just getting in trouble out in the streets and all that type of shit. People still was pulling for Adrian to win. Like Adrian, like when Floyd was telling them, like, hey, you gotta grow up and like you gotta make better decisions. And people, oh man, when Floyd was younger, Floyd was this and this. Well, if you was making dumb decisions as a kid, do you look at your kids and say, well, I ain't want nobody telling me what to do, so they got to go out there and learn their own? Because they might do that one dumb thing, and then they never make it back home. So you always your experiences in life make you become a better teacher because you're speaking from experience, not from what you think, but from what you understand and know. So Adrian, he drifted off. He talked a lot of shit about Floyd. He got caught up into this media stuff and even that, Floyd got to come see me and all that. It's like, man, Adrian, you don't want that ass whooping. And then on top of that, it ends up being the thing where it's like Adrian don't like for people to put him in his place. He don't like for people to keep it real with him and tell him what he's doing wrong. He just want to do what he want to do. Then when he decides, now I want to fight or now I want okay, let's make room for Adrian. And I believe that they look at him and they didn't see the dedication. They didn't see that like Adrian seemed like the kind of person that he only really wants to train when he know he has a guaranteed fight. And I believe that they're looking out for his best interest and he don't get it. And it's like, Adrian, you're not showing us that you really want to win this fight. You need the money and you think that bullshit is going to sell the fight. And even if you lose, you AB. All you got to do is talk some more shit and do something stupid and say something crazy and then you right back at this, um, you lose all your high profile fights, man. I mean, look, you lost to Maidana. You lost to Sean Porter. You lost to Mikey Garcia. You lost to Manny Pacquiao. You was gifted the last fight that you had. And, he's not understanding. Had the draw with Vargas, and then they never had a rematch. So, what I think Adrien Broner's not understanding is you want to be viewed a certain way. You want to look at four-time world champion, and we get it. We get that. Remember Zab Judah? So, me. You can't even see me. But he kept getting his ass beat. So, yeah, you can be the C minus or C plus fighter, but you can't be the B minus or B plus. So you don't even need to mention A plus fighters. You can beat the C minus and C plus. You just can't fuck with a B minus or a B plus fighter. But if you listen to Zab was always talking like I remember somebody asked Zab Judah, why does Zab Judah still fight today? And he said, because I know I'm still the best fighter. I'm the best fighter in the world. That's what he said. When was he ever the best fighter in the world? But at the end of the day, I think Adrien Broner just haven't come to grips with, like, look, man, Adrian, these people want to see you win. But clearly your better days are behind you. So when people like, yo, the old AB is back, I heard this and this and this. He said they've been training for 6 months. You think for 6 months, like his own team is trying to blackball him? No, they're saying, Adrian, you got to show us you want this shit, man. We not about let's just make a fight just so you can get some money. Then you go broke again. Now you run back and do the same dumb shit. And you running back, just running. It's like, no. Are you dedicated? Are you hungry? Do you want this? And look, let's just be real. At 140, right? You look at the Josh Taylors, the Regis Progrates, the Ramirez. Like, look at all the names that's there already. And now Tiafimo's there. Now Ryan claimed he's going there, right? So you have these names there at 140. Adrien he let a lot of good years slip by, man. You know, you can't take away what he's accomplished, and that's the thing that he doesn't understand. It's not about taking away, Adrien. You just can't live in the past. What do you have to offer now? You're saying that you still got a lot left. You're saying that, but you haven't shown it in the ring. You know, I remember before he fought Mikey Garcia, and I remember at the press conference, he was like, "I'm feeling disrespected, man. Like people up here talking like I'm not AB. You know, like I ain't that guy." No, AB, you went in there after saying all that you feel disrespected and people sleeping on you, and Mikey Garcia whitewashed you. It wasn't close at all. I didn't even see you win one round in that fight. So at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you're not the same AB you once was. I think in his head he is, in his own head. And he's thinking, man, the bullshit that I'm going through, the bullshit out in the streets, that's what's fucking me up. If I get past it, I'm telling you, I could beat these guys. He's saying he will be world champion again. He know he is, and he know he can. Okay, that's what you need to go and do. And after 6 months of training, you train for a fight 3 months. You've been in training camp for 6 months. Well, stay focused, stay hungry. The same advice that you gave the guy that what would you say to younger kids that wanted to be the next AB? He said, be the AB that was winning world championships, that was hungry and young. All the other stuff is cool, but stay focused on the boxing. And that's what Adrien Broner needs to do. Now, telling us what you're going to do, every fighter can say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. The thing is, you got to go in the ring and prove it. What Adrien Broner's not doing, what he's doing smart now, he's not playing into that bullshit. Anybody can, Mexican, African, all this, and talking about other fighters. He's telling me, man, look, I'm right now, all I'm focused on is Figueroa. I ain't worried about fighting nobody else. If we get past Figueroa, then we can make other fights easy. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm focused on now. And that's what he should be focused on. I think it's really stupid and disrespectful, and it's just ignorant when these reporters, I know you got Omar Figueroa in front of you, but is there anybody at welterweight that you look at, junior welterweight, and you feel like that's the guy that he's like, man, look, I'm fighting Omar. It's like when they ask those questions, it's like, man, please just shut up. Like don't like next, you know, you should always focus on the opponent that's in front of you. And I feel like, Adrien now being a little older, some of that bullshit that he used to do just slipped away from him. He, got away from him. He needs to stay focused. Now, my thing is this. I'm pulling for Adrien to win. Can he win? Well, that's what we're going to have to see. But Adrien is going to have to be focused, not just on this fight, but in general. Keep his body weight to, close to what it's supposed to be so he don't have to burn so much weight. Stay hungry and understand you can't get time back. And that's the Adrien Broner that was winning championships. The Adrien Broner that was cocky and brash and had, he still has a chip on his shoulder. But the chip on his shoulder now is, like I said, he feel like he's not getting respect for what he's done. It's not about what you've done. It's about what you have right now. What you've done, we look at that once you retire. To measure everything overall. Me personally, unless the conversation come up where I'm asked, I don't really focus on comparing a bunch of fighters just for the sake of fun conversation and things like that or whatever. But like overall, you're still fighting, and you need to go in that ring and show what you saying you still have. Don't tell us, show us. Because if you still have enough, like if you can't beat Figueroa, then where do you go from here? Like who? Why would you fight Regis Prograde? Why would they put you in there with Josh Taylor, any of those guys if you can't beat Figueroa? Figueroa's, he's not the best fighter out there. He's a good fighter, and he's like the best of the worst. One of, you understand? He's not peak. He's not that guy. He's here. He's one of those guys. If the stack is here, Figueroa's about here. Okay, and if you can't beat Figueroa, talking about what you've done, and that's why every time he say it, I'm like, yeah, he just doesn't get it. He take it as people are hating on me. They not giving my props. No, they're not hating on you. You know, they're telling you, we know what you've done. That has nothing to do with going forward. Now, if you can tap in to that AB that was focused, you can't recreate what you've done. You can create new moments. You can make history and add to your legacy. But what you did is what you did. You understand? And I think that if Adrien understands, if he has the maturity to understand, man, it's not about anybody hating, man. It's about you being capable of doing what your mouth is saying you can do. So hopefully, he beats Figueroa impressively, not just barely, but impressively. And there's no need to use your imagination and try to imagine how the fight's going to go and who's going to do this and this. Is more like, if he's capable of winning and he shows up come fight night and wins, then guess what? Adrien goes forward. If he loses, I mean, what's next? If he barely wins, I mean, the point of him getting the victory is the important part, but it's like he really needs to look good. Because if he barely wins, nobody's watering at the mouth to see him fight another top prospect. Because now it's like, nah, he struggled with Figueroa. Nah, he's not ready for those other guys. And if he's not ready now, when will he be ready? The experience that you have, the amount of years you've been around, what you have in your arsenal. He said if he has to, walk dude down, make it a dog fight, he's willing to do whatever he got to do. He's just ready to fight. That's what he said. Again, what you say and what you do can be two different things. So we know what Adrien has accomplished. It's like any fighter. We know what you've done. But as long as you lacing those gloves up, getting in that ring, you have something to prove. And this is not rooting for Adrien, pulling for him out of pity or, no. You're a grown man. You want to go in there and fight. You want to go to war with this guy. He's ready to come in there and go to war with you. And the thing about Figueroa is, his style. We know he coming to think Omar's coming off of a loss as well. And his style, that pressure style he has, is a style that Adrien has showed he just doesn't like pressure. So we'll see how it goes. But I just feel like, listening to Adrien talk is like, yeah, he doesn't get it, man. You go in there and win, Adrien, that's when people are going to give you the props that you're looking for. It doesn't come from you losing and then losing bad. And then get all emotional, start bringing up how many times you won the championship. And he said people don't appreciate you until you're gone. Yeah, that's true in so many cases. But in your case, like I said, you've lost all your major high-profile fights. The very best fighters, the Sean Porters, the Maidanas, the Mikey Garcias, the Manny Pacquiao's. You didn't just lose, you lost badly. You looked terrible in every one of those fights. You had nothing. You had nothing for these guys. So this is where, when they're asking that question about him feeling like he can, he still has a couple more great fights left and, the attempts to try to win. It's not about how old you are. It's just what you have left in the tank. You wasn't old when you lost to Mikey. You wasn't old when you lost to Pacquiao. Pacquiao is much older than you. You wasn't old when you lost to Porter. You wasn't old when you lost to Maidana. You was in your prime. So, and looking at your last performance, yeah, people are like, based on that alone, man. That's the last time they saw you. And you didn't look so hot in that fight. So, it's just a concern that people have for him. And I guess he just gets tired of hearing it. He gets irritated with it. But like I said, if he really understands what they're saying, it's not about, we hating on you. No, it's Adrien. You don't look as good. It's like what you're saying. You understand? It's like right now you have more attitude than you do ability. And for people that keep saying the old AB is back, I don't know what that's based on. And If it's coming from his camp, okay, fine. We hear you. Now show us in the ring. That's all it really comes down to. So may the best man win. But for Adrian, if he can't beat Omar Figueroa, then I mean, what does he go from here? What is the point? What do you do? What if you can't beat Figueroa? How the hell are you going to beat Josh? How are you going to beat Tiafimo? How are you going to beat any of these guys if you can't beat Figueroa? So we'll see how things go. I mean, I was even thinking like for example, the guy that Ryan just fought the other week, um, Fortuna, the Jojo Diaz's, these guys, the Isaac Cruz, like these are guys that you know um, they would be solid tests for Adrian. All those guys would be really solid tests for him. And to see, because like Figueroa, I don't think Figueroa put it like that. Figueroa, I like Cruz over him. I like Pitbull Cruz over Figueroa. I like Jojo over Figueroa. Um, yeah, I like those guys over him. So, and I'm not saying they should have brought him back against them. I'm saying before we start talking about Josh Taylor and all those guys, like, well, he's at 140, so but I mean, what I'm saying is guys of that level. That's what I'm saying. Though, those are good guys, but they're not. They're right under the elite guys. So this is what I'm saying. So for him to go to 140 and he's fighting guys that like a Omar Figueroa, I don't feel like you can get any lower than that and still see this fight as being respectable. Now I think Omar Figueroa is a step up from that guy he fought last, but that's the point of what I'm saying. You know, they're giving you competition to try to give you the best possible way that you can win. Your best possible chance of winning. So, but Adrian is not talking about other opponents, just the people asking him questions. So I feel like, he really need to be locked in. If he get the victory, stay locked in. Don't get relaxed, become complacent. Okay, I got that win. I told you. No, stay focused. All right, one down. We got several more to go. Because now coming up to like 140, going back to 140 rather. You know, there's other fighters out there. Like I'm saying, like there's guys at 140 that is on that same level. That's what I'm saying. As a Pitbull Cruz and a Jojo Diaz. That's what I'm saying. So that level of competition would even be stiff for him. Guys like that. And Figueroa is a good fighter. He's not what he used to be, most definitely, but neither is Adrian. So just see what they both have left in the tank, man. And again, tapping into your emotions, man, and getting upset because people are not, you feel like they're not giving you your props. Nah, man. I mean, if you base everything just same way you basing how good you think a fighter is when it wins. So when they're losing high profile fights, you see, okay, they can beat guys like him, and him. He can't beat this guy, that guy, that guy, and that guy though. You understand? So yeah, and the thing is, I'm pulling for Adrian to win, but I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like I don't see the difference in Adrian. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I don't like like those losses were just fluke wins. No, nah. I remember when Keith Thurman got beat by Pacquiao, and I remember um, Adrian said, "Yeah, see, make me lose and not look that bad, right?" Nah, you did just as bad as Keith Thurman did against Pacquiao. You didn't win no rounds against Pacquiao either. Like I don't. I mean, what did you do? So this is what I'm saying. We ain't worried about what the past of you winning, and we're not worrying about the past of you losing. But what we're going by is the more recent of what you've done is you've been losing fights at like more recently than you've been winning championships. So people are looking at you, wanting to see you excel. They want you to get fired up. They want you to try to tap into that AB that that AB that was ready to just go out there and make it happen. But even in that sense, when you were winning championships then, nobody that you won a championship from was as good as Sean Porter, as Maidana, as Pacquiao, or as Mikey Garcia. None of those guys that you won championships against was better or as good as those guys. And that's the whole thing. As you step up in competition, like when he fought at 147, he said, "I'm not gonna keep fighting these big guys. Nobody made you go to 147. That was your choice." Then you said, "I'm still undefeated at 140," and basically promised the world how you was gonna beat Mikey Garcia, and Mikey Garcia whitewashed you. So here we are, and I'm pulling for Adrien to win. But like I always say, may the best man win. And if he's good enough to get the job done, then at the end of the fight, we'll see him get his hand raised. But if he's not, and Omar Figuroa wins, then I guess Al Heyman and Adrien and all these guys have to get together and really work something out with him, man, because time doesn't wait for anybody. And with all the time that went by that he wasn't fighting, that he wasn't in the ring, hopefully he had time to reflect on everything and understand how important his career should be. Because one day you're not going to be able to do it. And when that time comes, AB will be gone, just like any other fighter. There's always new fighters coming in. And at the end of the day, it's not about people nobody can take away from you what you've already accomplished, man. But we just can't dwell on that. And sit there, maybe he'll win. It's like, no, either you're going to win or you're not. So, anyway, tell me what y'all think in the comments. Y'all think Adrien Broner is going to beat Figueroa? Y'all think that pressure style of Figueroa is going to be too much and he's going to resort back to not letting his hands go? What y'all think? Let me know. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. I will catch y'all on the next video.